To design engaging way to motivate people to do more.
Okay. And you mentioned Orange, you work with Orange. You told me when we called that you work with Tesco as well, right? So these companies are financing the programs, activities, rewards, etc. How the business model works for the foundation?
So we try to work with big companies that has many money for CSR programs, which aims are very social and positive. We try to earn money. I mean, businessly earn money on those projects. We also work for companies and help them gamify the very corporate things, like for example, motivate sellers to sell more bank accounts. We earn money for this, and from that money we organize and help other organizations do their own projects. For example, now we work with Synapsis Foundation, with which we use gamification to motivate people with Asperger to use public services. And for the last 2 months, we have motivated them to visit local libraries 7 times per month on average. So they learn how to use public libraries. They use it. They're more social, and at the end they have better lives.
Okay, great. So that's interesting. You work and provide services to companies that are interesting in generating a social impact. To what extent, and that may be a general question for all of us around the table, to what extent it's important for social entrepreneurs to try to work with such big companies? What can corporates bring to social entrepreneurs? And maybe the contrary as well. How interesting and important it can be for a social entrepreneur to try to connect with these companies who have money, who have sometimes business experience, etc., etc.
Marcin probably would say that it depends on case, because each case is different. I think that our mission of social entrepreneurs is to find money to maximize impact. Yeah. In my case, I know that businesses and corporates have money, and together we can not only do some positive things, but also we can earn money to do positive things and gamify projects with organizations that don't have money. Yeah?
They are cash cow.
Yeah, kind of.
Do you have something to add or different point of view on it?
Pretty much we before said that it's often you don't want to charge your beneficiary, your customer, final customer, like Miguel don't want to charge the deaf community. So you have to find a way to charge somebody, because in the end what we do costs a lot. And so corporations is one big pot where you can find this financing. Another one is, of course, the government around the world is doing a lot in this topic too. So,
but is it just about money, or do you think that social entrepreneurs can generate some impacts inside these companies? Because if we were giving the definition of social entrepreneurship as a way to think about the better future for society and try to reach it, okay, but if we have we always criticize big companies for their action, really often negative impacts on society. So is it really working if we have social entrepreneurs creating positive impact, but for that they need the money of corporation doing negative impact? So there is something contradictory there. What do you think?
Tough question. Well, that makes us go to the next level. It depends on your level of analysis. If you think this way, it can be contradictory, But my belief is that we need social entrepreneurs at the next level, not just doing business. We need social entrepreneurs and social innovators doing politics. We need also more activism. So we need people that can go to certain level and redefine, like, okay, can we redefine what is a corporation? Can we redefine what is the political life, the political action? So it could make more sense, because indeed it could be a contradiction. I agree with you.
So social entrepreneurs of the next level, they have to hack the companies, something like that.
Hack the company and hack the system and hack the way we, because it's related to politics as well. So we need like to hack the way we envision the political life. There's a reason why youth don't vote in Europe right now. So, and it's linked to cooperation. So it makes us go to a next level.
Okay. Yep.
So, Jacek told I like to start the sentence with it depends. I'm an economist, so by origin. So. But in our case, for instance, we work with corporations, and we see it not only as a pot of money, but also they help us to credibly communicate to our customers what we try to communicate. What we try to communicate is to do social projects as a way to gain professional management experience, business experience, leadership experience. And I cannot see a better authority to tell young people to do a social project than the CEO of a big corporation, who is telling them, if you actually do this, you learn something useful, which you can later on use in working with us, for instance, or doing your own business.
Yeah. Okay.
So it depends. We work with, sometimes you could consider, I don't know, with a bank, we consider them evil, but in the end they also employ thousands of people, and people make a living out of it. And if we work with them and they help us communicate, okay, if you do a project, you can work with us. That's we try to make such a connection.
Yeah, and from the companies you're working with, like maybe the people in the corporation you're working with, do you see kind of an impact of getting involved in such social projects at their personal level and maybe at the level of the organization, the people you're working with in Orange, for example?
The example is that Orange Corporation was used to sponsor Polish football. Yeah, they were the main sponsor of Polish first football league. And after the success of Pracownia Orange, they 1 year ago, they decided to put those money not into sponsoring big clubs that have enough money to run, but they told us, let's do something similar that you have done with Pracownia, with local communities, with sports. So because of what we do with Pracownia Orange, they decided to not sponsor big sports clubs, but they decided to sponsor local communities. So it's an example of how positive impact that we create can change the way of thinking about, for example, promoting a brand or how to affect sports area in Poland. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe a last question before we get another musical break. So, how do you see with all what we discussed right now, how do you see the future of social entrepreneurship, let's say in 10 years? Is it more involvement of companies, hacking the system, how?
So, what we basically see around the world is we have millions of great organizations, we call them basically NGOs, and which are rather small. So we actually never see NGO to become a big corporation, and it happens very rarely. Like maybe Bill Gates with billions of dollars by his own, he makes a real impact in this area. But in the rest, we see millions of people trying to do it, but they never reach a big level. And what we will see in the next 10 years is there is a chance this might change. The change, I don't know, have you ever heard of social impact investing? And okay.
What is it? Maybe a short definition.
Someone, you will try to give a definition, or maybe I could. Okay, so okay, but basically you never heard it. Okay, so what's going around is that big investors, people around the world, in the States, in Great Britain, it's actually not happening very much in Poland. It's starting. They say, okay, that's not a good situation. We invest a lot of small give donations, but there is not happening that it's not becoming big, the change. Mm-hmm. And they started to say, we would like not to donate money, we would like to invest and try to see this organizations like startups. Let's see if we can do something like that. With the hope that they might become an Uber, which actually, in its definition, tries to do something good for the world. And it's connected to let's say diagnosis that the problem of NGOs is the lack of capital, lack of motivation for investors to invest in them. There is no R&D capital. There is no capital for between projects. What we see here in Poland is like every investor, every big corporation, every government, they want to give us a grant for a project. But they are very skeptical about giving us money for R&D, that we try to develop something new so we can grow bigger. And this hinders all these millions of companies around the world to become an Uber, because there is nobody who wants to take this risk. And so if you ask me what will happen in the next 10 years, it's actually not my prediction, but it's JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley prediction, a big bank around the world. They are saying that from 160 part of the global financial market will be invested in social impact investments. And this is such a huge amount of money that it might actually change this balance in the financing of NGOs and social entrepreneurs around the world.
Okay, so from involving business tools in solving social projects, we will start involving financing tools.
Yes,
okay.
And this might help us to see companies like Migam, or hopefully myself, my company, to become global services.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. You want to add something? Okay. And then after that we'll have a break. No, go ahead. It will be 15 minutes?
No,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to add that we, like as social innovators and social entrepreneurs, we need to always focus into the human side and the dignity side, whatever we do, and just to make sure that we don't end up with something that in the end is not as good as our ideal thing. So if we don't want to reproduce a model like, let's say, a social entrepreneurship model where we will have big social corporations that will replace certain type of services that we have. So I think it's important that to stay to always think at the human level, like, okay, how do we work toward maintaining the dignity of the